I have a lot of tattoos on my hands and all around my body. I made them many years ago when I was young and sensitive. No complaints, by the way. Here I have the tattoo of Aeropress, brewing a cup of coffee, a classic rock and roll guitar, some random stuff. But only one tattoo is dedicated to the book. Dedicating it to the one specific book, I really dedicated it to the whole world of prose and unbelievable power of the written word. The book is The Tin Drum by Günter Grass. Hi, I'm Mike Chilpakov and I'll help you to discover great literature and to start reading books productively and consciously. And in this video, I would like to tell a little about the book that impressed me so much that I made a tattoo. When you speak about book, it's good to start with the author, but his figure is so contradictory that it will be hard and disrespectful to spend just few minutes to do it. I hope I'll make a special video about him someday, and in this video I'll cover just few facts from his biography to motivate you to find the story by yourself anywhere in the internet. Günter Grass was born on October 16, 1927 in the free city of Danzig, now Gdańsk. He was considered the conscience of the nation in Germany. In 1959, the writer published the novel called The Tin Drum, a grotesque story about a boy named Oskar Mazerat who, with the coming to power of the National Socialists in Germany, refuses to grow up in protest against the changes taking place in the society. The Tin Drum brought post-war Germany back into world literature and made Grass himself the voice of the burned generation of Germany. In 1979, the adaptation of The Tin Drum was awarded the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival and an Oscar. In 1999, the Nobel Committee awarded Günter Grass the Nobel Prize in Literature. 7 years later, in the summer of 2006, Germany experienced a shock. Günter Grass admitted that he served in the SS in his youth. It took the writer 60 years to tell about the service in the SS. Following his confessions, the autobiographical novel The Bulb of Memory was published, in which Grass recalled his youth. Someone saw this as a PR action for a new book, but the writer himself admitted that it was all about the difficult process of reflection, the need to find the right words to describe what was experienced. Günter Grass died not so long ago, on April 13, 2015. In a few days it will be just 8 years since he is not with us. One of the greatest writers of the 20th century, who wrote one of the most anti-war, anti-Nazi books in history. For me, the concept of the death of the author is quite understandable. I almost never see the novels through the prism of their authors, but sometimes it's really hard to do. It's always you who decide which lenses to use while reading a novel. Needless to say that the book The Tin Drum didn't lose its power and influence after the shocking confession of Grass. So, the author died. First metaphorically, after that physically. But his book, his main novel, I guess, remains the same, and all the power of it also remains the same. So, let's speak about the novel The Tin Drum. This is sometimes a gloomy, sometimes touching story about the life of one person, very complicated and multi-layered person. The novel is surrealistic grotesque, combining mystical events with historical reality. A whole generation of Germany flashes before the eyes of the reader. Undoubtedly, Günter Grass is a brilliant writer, moving from the first to the third person in the narrative, describing the events taking place in a chic and curious way and showing an unusual look at them from an unusual person. According to Wikipedia, the starting point of all events in the novel is the rise of the National Socialists in Germany, but I think that this is said too roughly. The Tin Drum is undoubtedly autobiographical, and Oskar is a reflection of Grass. Only a reflection in a distorted mirror. And the National Socialists and the subsequent war and other near-political things are nothing more than just stages in the life of the protagonist, as well as in the life of the writer himself. The novel is a story of a boy, Oskar Mazerat, who refuses to grow up in protest against the changes taking place in society, and in general because he doesn't want to have anything to do with adults who initiate wars and kill people. He was born into the world already with the unbearable disgust for the world around him, and with the decision never to participate in the affairs of the world. And only a cheap children's drum, donated by his mother, reconciles him with life, allowing him to find his voice in drumming. He never lets it out of his hands, and if someone tries to pick up the drum, then as a protest he emits an incredible scream that can break all the glass around. When Alfred Masserat, his father, tried to take the drum, which had been pierced to holes, Oscar smashed the glass of the grandfather clock with a cry. When they tried to replace the drum with other toys on his 4th birthday, he crushed all the lamps in the chandelier. Oscar, with his purely negative attitude toward the world of adults, responds to the evil with the mania of destruction. He responds to the cruelty of the absurd world with absurd cruelty, to the immorality of those around him by denying any taboos, overthrowing any authorities. His total infantilism is a mask covering the face of an offended and, in fact, unhappy person. Immediately realizing that he will remain misunderstood by his own parents all his life, he lost all desire to live, and only the promise of a drum reconciled him with the reality. First of all, Oscar didn't want to grow up, and, taking advantage of the oversight of Alfred Masserat, who forgot to close the cellar lid, fell down the stairs on his 3rd birthday. In 1934, the boy was taken to the circus, when he met a midget named Bebra. Anticipating torchlight processions and parades, he uttered prophetic words: "Try always to sit among those who are in the stands, and never stand in front of them. Little people like you and me will find a place even on the most crowded stage. And if not on it, then certainly under it, but for no reason in front of it." And when one day in August 1935, Alfred Masserat, who joined the Nazi party, went to some kind of demonstration, Oscar, hiding under the stands, spoiled the whole procession, knocking down the orchestra of stormtroopers to waltzes and other dance rhythms with the drum. It is one of the most colorful scenes in the book that every reader will remember in details for very long. The whole book is a continuous whirlpool of faces, actions and emotions. Sometimes you can't tell where reality ends and Oscar's fantasy begins. Memories, plans, dreams, thoughts, delusional images, everything was woven into one ball. There is a bit of complicated relationship, a bit of war, a bit of theater, a bit of love, a bit of blood. But every time Oscar is the main investigator, every time he is the center of everything, even if it seems that he has nothing to do with it at all. An insane amount of depth can be found on the pages of the book. Sometimes it plunges the reader into hopeless darkness, but it has a magical, enlightened end. I decided to make a video about this book because just yesterday me and my wife watched Pinocchio by Guillermo del Toro. If you'll watch it and if you'll read the book The Tin Drum, you will not have doubts that it's the same story. The protest of the boy who didn't want to be a slave in the system. And I've seen a lot of references in Pinocchio by Guillermo del Toro to The Tin Drum. They are more than obvious to me. I cannot say that this is a novel that will be easy to read. My wife, who studied foreign literature in university, simply could not read it at all. You will need a lot of patience. A lot. But for this, the most worthy and therefore the most patient will receive their reward. The amazing secrets of the pages will open before them. And there is something to enjoy there, believe me. A drum solo and a hero absorbing the world from a peculiar distance, from below, from under the stage. And the words covering the tin drum on my hand is obviously a quote from the novel. Even bad books remain books, and it makes them sacred. For me, it's something that we should remember from 20th century, when people used to burn books they feared. I hope this video were helpful and interesting to you, so don't forget to push the like and subscribe button, it really helps this channel to grow. For now, bye bye, see you soon.